Okay, 7th grade. This is the video you've been longing for, right? The revisions video. So this is one assignment that we're going to be doing several times this year. So with different writing assignments, these revisions. And there are 2 goals to your revision assignment. One of them is to work on your rough draft and make it better. Make it all around better. And another goal is for you to do these steps here, and that is what the grade for your revision assignment is going to be on, whether you do these steps or not. If you do a bunch of revisions but you don't number anything, I don't really have anything to grade. I don't know if you know what kind of error you are working on. So hopefully I can slow down just a little bit and explain it a little bit more for you. So you have your rough draft, and hopefully you have your rough draft in your hand, and you've either double spaced for a printout or you have skipped lines if you wrote in your notebook. And you have a pencil, probably, or maybe a pen, whatever. And you are to go through and make changes. Revisions in English means changes. I think it doesn't necessarily mean changes in Spanish. Revisar doesn't necessarily mean change, but in English, revise means change. So we are not just fixing errors, but we are also possibly making changes to things that were not grammatical or spelling errors necessarily, anything like that. So we have 6 areas that we need to make changes in, and I went ahead and made 7 because I wanted to make the grammar/conventions part count more. As you know, your assignments this quarter will be 5 points. So if you get all 7 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you will get at least 1, maybe 2 bonus points on this assignment. So if I were you, I would pay attention to that. This is not an easy assignment, but let's say you did these, but you did 2 of them wrong, you still get 5 points. Okay? So let's look at these revisions that I want you to make. Remember, your goal is to make the place bad. You want to make whoever reads this not want to go there or not want to be there. And it doesn't matter what kind of bad it is. It could be disgusting bad, gloomy bad, depressing bad, scary bad. It could be any kind of bad. It's kind of funny that this is falling right at about Halloween. When a lot of people are trying to do things that are bad and scary. So I didn't do that on purpose, really, I didn't. Okay, so change kind number 1, ideas. Remember we did the 6 traits at the beginning of the year? Well, here we are with the 6 traits. Ideas, add another detail, maybe use another of your 5 senses. So I was walking through the forest and suddenly there was something not right. Well, I could add a detail. I could say it smelled like a dead fish, or suddenly a fog crept up and it was gloomy like a fog in a forest. Well, that would be weird if you're in the forest and a fog came and you said it was like a fog in a forest, wouldn't it? Anyway, you understand what I mean. Add something. So if you add something, some kind of detail or example or something, then you can use that as your number 1. So write the change on your rough draft. Like in some of these red areas, I wrote a change and I put a little number with a circle around it. Make the change and put the number that corresponds to that kind of change next to the change that you made. Here I said make it smelly and all this. So I put a little number 1 by it, meaning that I added details. Okay? Number 2, organization. Okay, organization has to do with how easy it is to follow what you write. Is it in logical order? Is it in paragraphs? Because if you write like 20 sentences and it's all one paragraph, then it's just a bit too much. We don't want a big block of writing. So maybe you need to put 1 or 2 paragraph breaks in there. If you put a paragraph break, mark it. You can either mark it with a paragraph symbol like I did here, or you can draw a line here and you write the word paragraph off to the side or something like that, and put a number 2 because that's an organization type of change. Or you could put the things in more logical order. Remember when we were describing another place, or was that another class? I think it was another class. Anyway, you should, if you're describing a place, have some sort of order, like by space. You know, you don't want to skip around and say, at our front gate this and this and this, and at our back fence this, and in my house this, and over back by the front gate. You see what I mean? So if you put things in more logical order, like if you thought of something later and you added it at the end, and you think, well, this would be better to put it like the third or fourth sentence, you can draw an arrow, and that could be a number 2 change. Put a number 2 by it. And then number 3, after we've done ideas and organization, the next thing to think about is voice. Replace tell language with show language. Okay. What I mean is, instead of saying that you're bored, you can say, the teacher was really late. I shifted from one foot to the other foot to the other foot. I drummed my fingers on the table. And so those are some ways of showing that you're bored without saying, I was so bored. You see what I'm saying? So if in one place you replace tell language with show language, then you can put a number 3. Another example, instead of saying I couldn't breathe too well, you could say the air was heavy like a wet towel. Okay? That is show language. When you hear the air was heavy like a wet towel, you can kind of sense in your mind, within your imagination, what that kind of air would feel like. And it's more interesting and more vivid to say the second one than it is to say the first one. So that would be a number 3 change, and you would put a little number 3 and circle around it like I didn't put a number 3 here, but like I put the number 2 here. Number 4, sentence fluency. That's where you get rid of run-on sentences. You know the kind of sentence where you put 2 sentences together and you forgot to put a conjunction in the middle, or you should have put a period and made it 2 sentences. If you fix that, that is a number 4 change, sentence fluency. Or if you put a short sentence or even an exclamation by a longer sentence. Boo. I put boo here. That's an exclamation. And that could be a number 4 change. And I put a little number 4 by it to show that that's what it is. Number 5, word choice. This is where you choose the best wording for what you want to say. Remember again, your goal is to make the place bad. Replace linking verbs if you can with action verbs. If you found a place where you put is, that it is squishy, the floor is squishy. And if you could replace that with the floor squished under my feet, can you see how the action verb squished makes the writing more interesting than the verb is with the adjective squishy? Or the room smelled awful could be replaced with the scent of rotting onions hung in the air. Now we have something more interesting with the action verb hung. General, I forgot to put the L in the end, the general. General or abstract words like bad, you can replace that with a specific or concrete word that tells exactly what you mean. Because bad can mean scary, bad can mean smelly, bad can mean rotten, bad can mean mischievous, bad can mean demonic, bad can mean, you see what I mean? It can mean a lot of things. So if you replace one of those words like that, then it's a number 5 change. Okay, so number 6, conventions. Fix subject-verb agreement errors. If you fix subject-verb agreement errors, that's a number 6 things. Like here I gave you an example. He don't know how to open it, and it should be he doesn't know how to open it. So I switched that word, and that's a number 6 correction. So I put a little number 6 next to it. And then number 7, other convention problems: spelling, punctuation, other grammar issues that we haven't necessarily talked about yet. Um, some English usage, like you meant to say at, but you said in, like you said, Carlos is in his locker. Well, Carlos doesn't fit in his locker. You mean Carlos is at his locker. And that would be a convention error. That'd be number 7. You put a little number 7 next to one place. There will probably be several areas in your paper where you have to correct spelling or punctuation or things like that. You only need to mark it one time. So here's the deal. If you find 5 of these, you got all 5 points. If you find 6 correctly, you get 6 points. Okay? But you have to do them correctly. If you have trouble, please let me know and let me see if I can help you. But you need to try. Okay? Also, again, any writing assignment that we do, whether it's pre-writing, rough draft, any writing assignment that we do, you need to look at the grade and the comments after I've made them. And if you don't like your grade and you want to do better by my comments, you can always resubmit your writing assignments or any part of a writing assignment. Okay? So I want you to know that. I mean, many times over the past several years, I've told students that, and not very many times have they actually taken advantage of that opportunity. And that's a good way to get 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 or 4 more points, okay? If you take advantage of the opportunity to rework things based on comments that I made on your assignment. Also, when you do the rough draft, hopefully you've already done the rough draft when you see this. And I will give you a grade on your rough draft, and most of you, I'll probably write some kind of comment on your rough draft. So you need to look at those comments because that could help you on your revisions, or it could help you on your final draft. Okay? So take advantage of, remember I said, take advantage of every resource that I give you. This video is a resource, and our meetings that we have are resources. When I give you comments on your papers, that's a resource. If I give you a bad grade on a workbook assignment and it's because you didn't do half of the pages, you can still finish the other pages. Okay? You can always improve. Okay? And you need to take advantage of all of the resources. Right now your assignment is to do the revisions. Submit that under the revisions assignment. Do not submit your final draft under the revisions assignment. Submit your final draft under the final draft assignment. Your revisions assignment should be your rough draft with stuff marked on it. Okay? Pretend your rough draft is the blue here, and the red part is your revisions. That's kind of what your rough draft with the revisions should look like when you put it in the revisions assignment. Okay. If you have more questions or you don't understand still, please let me know in the comments or via WhatsApp or whatever way works for you. Okay? Happy writing.